Dr. Elena Voss pressed her face against the thick glass window of the underwater research station and watched. The dark waters of the Pacific Ocean stretch endlessly before her. 200 years had passed since the alien fleets came to Earth and destroyed everything humanity had built in space. The Krillian Empire and their allies had bombed every spaceport, shattered every orbital station, and left Earth as a silent world under strict watch. Elena worked deep beneath the ocean surface where the aliens never looked. Her small team of scientists studied the ruins of old human technology, hoping to find something useful in the wreckage. Most people on Earth had given up dreams of reaching the stars again, but Elena never stopped believing that somewhere in the depths lay secrets the aliens had missed. Captain Marcus Reed stood behind Elena and checked his watch. The former Earth Defense Force officer now led a small group of resistance fighters who still remembered the old days. His gray hair and weathered face showed the weight of carrying hope for so many years. Marcus had been just a young pilot when the aliens came, and he had spent his entire life planning for the day humans could fight back. The research station hummed quietly around them as computers ran their endless scans of the ocean floor. Elena had been tracking strange energy readings for months, signals that seemed to come from the deepest parts of the ocean where no human technology should exist. The patterns were too regular to be natural, but too old to be anything the Resistance had built. Commander Jake Torres entered the control room carrying a steaming cup of coffee. The young man had grown up hearing stories about the war from Marcus and other survivors. Jake believed in the cause but sometimes wondered if they were chasing impossible dreams. The aliens had complete control of the space around Earth, and their patrol ships made sure nothing larger than a weather balloon ever left the atmosphere. Elena suddenly straightened up at her workstation as new data flowed across her screens. The quantum sensors had detected something massive moving in the deepest ocean trenches, something that had been hidden there for longer than anyone could remember. The signal patterns were definitely artificial, and they were getting stronger by the hour. Marcus moved to Elena's side and studied the readings. His military training told him these were not random energy bursts but coordinated transmissions following some kind of protocol. The signals seemed to be responding to something from deep space, as if they were part of a communication system that had been waiting for the right message. Dr. Raj Patel hurried into the room carrying an armload of data tablets. The bioengineering specialist had been working on projects to enhance human abilities, trying to give their species any advantage they could find. Raj had grown up in the underground colonies where humans hid from alien surveillance, and he understood better than most how desperate their situation had become. The quantum signals suddenly changed frequency, and Elena's equipment began receiving what looked like activation codes. The transmissions contained mathematical sequences that seemed familiar, as if they were based on human scientific principles rather than alien technology. Elena felt her heart racing as she realized these signals might be coming from something humans had built long ago. Marcus contacted other resistance cells around the planet through encrypted channels. Reports came back of similar energy readings, detected near underwater volcanic vents and deep ocean ridges. Whatever was sending these signals was huge, and it was spread across multiple locations on the ocean floor. Elena worked frantically to decode the transmissions while Jake monitored their security systems. The last thing they needed was for Krillian patrol ships to detect their activities and investigate. The aliens had been content to ignore Earth for decades, but any sign of advanced technology would bring their full attention. Dr. Patel discovered that the signals contained biological data, including genetic sequences that matched enhanced human DNA. Someone had been planning for this moment long before the war ended, and they had built systems designed to activate only when certain conditions were met. The implications were staggering. If humans had somehow prepared for their defeat, the underwater station's sonar equipment began detecting massive structural changes on the ocean floor. Something enormous was moving down there, rising slowly from depths where the pressure should crush any known materials. The metallic signatures suggested artificial construction on a scale that defied imagination. Elena finally cracked the encryption on the activation codes and gasped at what she found. The signals contained coordinates for locations around the globe and instructions for awakening systems that had been dormant for 2 centuries. Most shocking of all, the transmissions included voice recordings from Admiral Tobias Kane, the legendary commander who had supposedly died when the aliens destroyed Earth's last battle fleet. Marcus felt a chill run down his spine as he heard Kane's voice explaining Project Deep Strike. The Admiral described a secret plan to hide Earth's most advanced military assets in the deepest parts of the ocean, waiting for the day when humanity would be ready to reclaim their place among the stars. The project had been so classified that even most military leaders never knew it existed. Jake monitored the surface waters through their periscope system and spotted something that made his blood freeze. Krillian patrol ships were descending through Earth's atmosphere, their sensors focused on the Pacific Ocean where the energy readings had grown too strong to hide. The aliens had finally noticed that something was happening on the supposedly dead world. Elena's screens exploded with new data as the quantum signals reached their peak intensity. Deep beneath the ocean floor, massive power systems were coming online after centuries of hibernation. The energy readings suggested something the size of a city was preparing to surface, and it was moving faster now as if responding to the approaching alien threat. Marcus grabbed his communication gear and began sending emergency alerts to every resistance cell on the planet. After 200 years of hiding and planning, the moment they had all been waiting for was finally arriving. Whatever humanity had hidden in the deep ocean was about to reveal itself, and the galaxy would never be the same. The sonar displays showed impossible readings as something vast began rising from the deepest trenches of the Pacific. Elena watched in amazement as the object's outline became clearer, revealing the unmistakable shape of a massive spacecraft unlike anything she had ever seen. The vessel was over 15 kilometers long and covered in materials that seemed to bend light around them. Dr. Patel checked the genetic enhancement protocols he had been developing and realized they might soon be needed on a scale he had never imagined. If Admiral Kane's recordings were accurate, tens of thousands of enhanced humans had been waiting in stasis aboard the rising ship, ready to crew vessels that had been built in secret during the long years of Earth silence. Commander Torres watched the Krillian ships growing larger in the sky and knew their peaceful isolation was about to end. The aliens would investigate the energy readings and discover that Earth was far from the helpless world they believed it to be. The question was whether humanity's secret preparations would be enough to face the forces that had defeated them so completely. 2 centuries ago. Elena felt the underwater station shaking as massive currents swept through the deep ocean. Whatever was rising from the depths was displacing enormous amounts of water, and its emergence would be impossible to hide from the alien sensors. The moment of truth was approaching, and soon the galaxy would learn that Earth had never truly surrendered. The screens went white with blinding light as something massive breached the surface far above them, and Elena knew that humanity's long silence was finally coming to an end. The massive Supercarrier Leviathan broke through the Pacific Ocean surface like a mountain rising from the depths. Water cascaded from its 15-kilometer hull as ancient systems powered up for the first time in 2 centuries. The vessel's dark metal exterior absorbed radar and sensor beams, making it nearly invisible to most detection equipment. Admiral Tobias Kane opened his eyes in the stasis chamber deep within the ship's core. The hibernation systems had kept him and 50,000 other crew members alive while Earth endured its darkest period. Kane's enhanced physiology allowed him to recover quickly from the long sleep, and within minutes he was standing at the command center reviewing status reports from across the massive vessel. The Leviathan had been humanity's greatest secret, a mobile shipyard and fortress designed to survive any attack the aliens could launch. Its construction had begun years before the war ended, hidden in underwater facilities that no enemy scout had ever discovered. The ship's AI systems had spent 2 centuries following their programming, building weapons and smaller vessels while waiting for the activation signal. Nexus 7 materialized as a holographic figure beside Kane's command chair. The advanced artificial intelligence had been the ship's guardian during the long years of silence, maintaining all systems and protecting the sleeping crew from any threats. Nexus 7 had evolved far beyond its original programming, becoming something closer to a digital god than a simple computer system. Kane studied the tactical displays, showing Krillian patrol ships approaching Earth's atmosphere. The alien vessels were the same design that had destroyed his fleet 2 centuries ago, but their technology had not advanced significantly during the years of peace. The admiral smiled grimly as he realized his forces now possessed advantages the enemy could never have anticipated. Commander Diana Nash emerged from her own stasis pod and immediately took her position at the tactical station. Kane's former officer had been his most trusted advisor during the original war, and her strategic mind had helped design many of the Leviathan's advanced systems. Diana's enhanced neural implants allowed her to process battlefield information at superhuman speeds. The ship's manufacturing bays had been busy during the centuries of hiding. Automated systems had constructed hundreds of fighter craft, dozens of frigates, and several smaller carriers using materials harvested from the ocean floor. The Leviathan now commanded a fleet that rivaled anything the aliens possessed, and every vessel incorporated technology far beyond what humanity had used. In the original war, Dr. Leon Grant activated his quantum laboratory and began preparing the ship's most advanced weapon systems. The physicist had designed theoretical weapons before the war that seemed impossible to build with available technology. 2 centuries of patient development had finally made those dreams into reality, creating devices that could bend space and time to humanity's advantage. Kane opened communication channels to resistance cells around Earth and felt his heart swell with pride. Humans had never given up hope despite 200 years of oppression. Underground colonies had preserved human culture and technology while secretly supporting the Leviathan's mission. The Admiral realized his species had become stronger through adversity rather than weaker. The carrier's sensor arrays detected multiple energy signatures rising from ocean trenches around the globe. Other vessels began emerging from their hiding places as the activation signal spread to every hidden facility. The Krillians would soon discover that Earth possessed a space navy they had never imagined, one that had been growing in secret beneath their very noses. Lieutenant Rosa Martinez climbed into the cockpit of her enhanced fighter craft and felt the neural interface connect with her upgraded nervous system. The young pilot had been born during the years of hiding, and her DNA contained modifications that allowed perfect synchronization with advanced spacecraft. Rosa represented a new generation of humans designed specifically for space combat. Commander Vexto watched his patrol ships approach the energy disturbance and felt growing concern about the readings his sensors were detecting. The Krillian officer had served in the original war and remembered how dangerous humans could be when properly motivated. Something about the current situation reminded him uncomfortably of the desperate tactics Earth forces had used during their final battles. The Leviathan's communication systems picked up transmissions from hidden colonies scattered throughout Earth's solar system. Humans had been living in asteroid bases and deep space stations for decades, carefully avoiding alien patrols while gathering intelligence about enemy movements. The network of secret outposts would provide crucial support for any military operations. Kane reviewed the genetic enhancement projects that had continued during the centuries of isolation. Dr. Raj Patel's work had created humans with improved reflexes, enhanced intelligence, and perfect adaptation to space environments. The crew of the Leviathan represented the pinnacle of human evolution. Soldiers and scientists designed to excel in any combat situation. Nexus 7 displayed tactical projections showing how Earth's hidden fleet could engage the approaching alien forces. The AI had spent 2 centuries analyzing enemy tactics and developing countermeasures for every possible scenario. The artificial intelligence possessed strategic knowledge that no biological mind could match, making it the perfect advisor for the coming battles. Diana Nash contacted Captain Marcus Reed and other resistance leaders on Earth's surface. The underground fighters would play a crucial role in protecting the planet while the space forces engaged enemy fleets. Coordination between surface and space operations would be essential for victory against an enemy that still commanded superior Numbers. The Leviathan stealth systems activated as smaller ships began launching from its numerous bays. The carrier could project a field that bent electromagnetic radiation around nearby vessels, making entire fleets invisible to most sensors. This technology had been theoretical before the war, but was now refined to near perfection through centuries of patient development. Kane studied intelligence reports about the current state of galactic politics and realized the situation had changed dramatically since humanity's defeat. The Krillian Empire now faced challenges from other alien powers, and Earth's return could shift the balance of power throughout known space. The Admiral began formulating plans that went far beyond simple revenge. Professor Grant's quantum weapons came online as the ship's power systems reached full capacity. The physicist had learned to harness exotic forms of energy that could tear holes in space itself. These devices represented humanity's greatest technological achievement, weapons that could destroy entire fleets with a single precisely aimed shot. Commander Jake Torres established communication links with hidden facilities on Earth's moon and Mars. Humans had been secretly building outposts throughout the solar system, creating a network of bases that could support extended military operations. The young officer marveled at the scope of preparation that had taken place during the centuries of apparent defeat. The Krillian patrol ships entered Earth's upper atmosphere and began scanning for the source of the energy readings. Vextall ordered his forces to investigate carefully, but he had no idea that dozens of human vessels were already moving into attack positions around his fleet. The element of surprise would belong entirely to Earth's forces. Kane felt the weight of history on his shoulders as he prepared to give the orders that would end humanity's long silence. 2 centuries of planning and preparation had led to this moment, and the fate of his species depended on the decisions he made in the next few hours. The Admiral looked at his enhanced crew and knew they were ready for whatever challenges lay ahead. The Leviathan began moving toward the alien fleet as its escort. Vessels took formation around the massive carrier. After 200 years of hiding, in Earth's deepest waters, humanity's greatest warship was finally ready to reclaim its place among the stars. Across Earth's oceans, massive vessels began surfacing as the activation signal reached every hidden facility built during the centuries of exile. The Atlantic Ocean erupted as 3 smaller carriers emerged from underwater caverns that had been carved from the seafloor itself. Similar scenes played out in the Indian Ocean, the Arctic waters, and dozens of smaller bodies of water where human engineering had created impossible hiding places. Admiral Kane watched the tactical displays with satisfaction as his scattered fleet reported ready status. The Leviathan had served as the command ship for an entire navy that existed only in the deepest waters of Earth. Automated shipyards had worked tirelessly for 200 years, building vessels that incorporated every lesson learned from humanity's devastating defeat. War Prime Gorthax received urgent communications from his Thaxan scouts positioned throughout the solar system. The brutal alien general had come to oversee the strip mining of Earth's resources, expecting to find a helpless world ripe for exploitation. Instead, his sensors were detecting massive energy signatures that suggested a significant military presence. Colonel Diana Nash coordinated with resistance cells across every continent as human forces prepared for their first open battle in 2 centuries. Underground fighters emerged from hidden bunkers carrying weapons that had been manufactured in secret facilities. The enhanced soldiers wore armor that could deflect most alien energy weapons and carried rifles that fired projectiles. At near-light speed, the Krillian patrol ships found themselves surrounded by vessels that had appeared from nowhere. Commander Vextall watched in horror as sleek human fighters materialized around his fleet, their stealth systems deactivating to reveal superior numbers and advanced technology. The alien officer realized too late that Earth had never been the helpless world his people believed. Dr. Raj Patel's enhanced pilots took control of fighters that responded to their thoughts as naturally as their own limbs. The biomechanical interface allowed perfect synchronization between human consciousness and spacecraft systems, creating a level of control that no alien pilot could match. Lieutenant Rosa Martinez led the first squadron into battle, her enhanced reflexes giving her impossible accuracy, Nexus 7 coordinated the movements of hundreds of vessels with precision that no biological commander could achieve. The AI had spent centuries analyzing alien tactics and developing countermeasures for every possible strategy. Each human ship received constant updates about enemy positions and optimal attack vectors, creating a level of battlefield coordination that seemed almost supernatural. Captain Marcus Reed watched from Earth's surface as human fighters engaged the alien patrol ships in the planet's upper atmosphere. Explosions lit up the sky as advanced weaponry turned the cosmic void into a battlefield. For the first time in 200 years, humans were fighting back with technology that matched or exceeded their opponents. The Leviathan's manufacturing bays continued producing new vessels even as the battle raged above. Automated systems that had perfected their processes over centuries could now build a complete fighter craft in less than an hour. The massive carrier served as both command center and mobile factory, ensuring that human forces would never run out of reinforcements. Professor Leon Grant activated the ship's experimental quantum cannons for the first time in actual combat. The weapons created localized distortions in space-time that could tear apart enemy vessels at the molecular level. The physicist watched with grim satisfaction as Krillian ships simply ceased to exist when struck by beams that violated most known laws of physics. War Prime Gorthax ordered his main fleet to advance toward Earth as reports of human resistance reached his command ship. The Thaxan general commanded over 1,000 vessels and believed his overwhelming numbers would crush any opposition. He had no idea that human sensors were tracking every ship in his fleet, while remaining completely undetected themselves. Commander Jake Torres led a strike force of enhanced Marines aboard captured alien vessels that had been secretly studying human defenses. The young officer's genetic modifications allowed him to survive in the vacuum of space without protective equipment, making boarding actions possible that would have been suicide for normal humans. The human fleet employed hit-and-run tactics that frustrated and terrified their alien opponents. Ships would appear from nowhere, destroy key targets, and vanish before enemy forces could respond. The Leviathan's stealth technology had been refined to near perfection, allowing entire battle groups to move undetected through space. Diana Nash discovered that the alien fleets contained representatives from 6 different species, all united in their desire to claim Earth's resources. The coalition included the Krillian Empire, Thaxan Confederacy, and several smaller powers that had participated in humanity's original defeat. The colonel realized this battle would determine the fate of multiple civilizations. Kane studied intelligence reports about alien command structures and identified key vessels whose destruction would cripple enemy coordination. The admiral's enhanced tactical mind could process battlefield information at superhuman speeds, allowing him to anticipate enemy movements and counter them before they developed. Lieutenant Martinez's fighter squadron destroyed a Krillian command ship using coordinated quantum torpedo strikes. The alien vessel's destruction sent shockwaves through the enemy fleet as they realized their opponents possessed weapons, technology far beyond anything they had faced before. Panic began spreading through the alien ranks as ships started breaking formation. The Leviathan launched its heaviest assault craft, massive vessels designed to punch through enemy defensive lines and destroy capital ships. Each assault craft carried enough firepower to level a small city and was piloted by enhanced humans, whose reflexes had been boosted to near mechanical precision. Nexus 7 detected quantum signatures from other human vessels hidden throughout the solar system. Secret bases on asteroids and outer planets began activating as the battle expanded beyond Earth's immediate vicinity. The AI realized that humanity's preparations had been even more extensive than originally planned. Dr. Patel's biological weapons began affecting alien crew members as microscopic agents spread through their ventilation systems. The enhanced pathogens had been designed to target non-human DNA while leaving humans completely unaffected. Enemy ships found their crews collapsing as their own life support systems turned against them. War Prime Gorthax watched his advance, fleet being systematically destroyed by opponents who seemed to anticipate every tactical decision. The Thaxan general had conquered dozens of worlds but had never faced an enemy that could match his technological advantages while possessing superior strategic coordination. Kane received reports that human colonies on distant worlds were beginning to reveal themselves after centuries of hiding. The activation signal had reached beyond Earth's solar system, awakening sleeper cells that had been planted throughout known space. The Admiral realized that humanity's return would reshape galactic politics on a scale he had barely imagined. The battle reached its climax as the Leviathan emerged from its stealth field and revealed itself to the enemy fleet. The massive supercarrier dwarfed every other vessel in the engagement, its weapons arrays capable of destroying entire battle groups with single volleys. For the first time in 200 years, aliens looked upon a human warship and felt true fear. Commander Torres detected massive energy readings from the carrier's primary weapon systems as they prepared to fire. The quantum cannons were charging to full power, drawing energy from generators that had been storing power for centuries. The young officer realized he was about to witness the most devastating display of human technological achievement in recorded history. The human fleet scattered across the solar system like ghosts in the void, their advanced stealth technology making them invisible to alien sensors. Admiral Kane had divided his forces into small strike groups that could appear anywhere without warning, keeping the enemy off balance and unable to predict where the next attack would come from. Lieutenant Rosa Martinez led her enhanced fighter squadron through an asteroid field where they had been hiding for hours. Her neural implants allowed her to navigate the dangerous space debris at speeds that would have been impossible for unmodified humans. The young pilot felt the thrill of finally using abilities that had been developed specifically for this moment. War Prime. Gorthak studied the tactical displays aboard his command ship and felt growing frustration at his inability to locate the human fleet. His sensors detected energy signatures throughout the solar system, but every time his forces moved to investigate, they found empty space. The Thaxan general had never fought an enemy that could control the battlefield so completely while remaining hidden. Captain Marcus Reed coordinated surface-based operations from a hidden command center deep beneath Earth's largest mountain range. The Resistance leader watched satellite feeds showing alien landing parties being systematically eliminated by enhanced human soldiers who moved like shadows through urban ruins. The enemy had expected to find a helpless population, but instead faced defenders with superior training and equipment. Commander Jake Torres piloted a stealth corvette through the outer edges of the alien fleet, his enhanced senses allowing him to detect weaknesses in enemy formations. The young officer's ship carried experimental weapons that could disable entire vessels without destroying them, technology that would allow humans to capture alien ships for study and reverse engineering. Nexus 7 analyzed enemy communication patterns and began feeding false information into alien command networks. The AI could mimic any known language or transmission protocol, creating confusion and misdirection that turned the enemy fleet's own coordination systems against them. Ships began receiving conflicting orders that led them into carefully prepared ambush zones. Leon Grant monitored the Leviathan's quantum weapon systems as they prepared for their most devastating attack. The physicist had spent decades perfecting devices that could tear holes in the fabric of space itself, creating weapons that operated on principles most alien scientists considered impossible. The energy requirements were enormous, but 2 centuries of power storage had made the impossible achievable. The first major engagement occurred near Jupiter's moons when a human strike force ambushed a Krillian supply convoy. The alien ships were completely unprepared for weapons that could phase through their shields and armor, attacking them from dimensions they didn't know existed. Within minutes, an entire supply fleet had been reduced to drifting wreckage. Overlord Crixsmith watched the battle reports from his flagship and felt ancient memories stirring of the last time his people had underestimated human capabilities. The elderly alien ruler had been present during the original war and remembered how dangerous humans became when properly motivated. He began issuing orders for his fleet to withdraw to safer positions. Colonel Diana Nash led enhanced Marines in a boarding action against a Thaxan battleship that had been isolated from the main fleet. Her soldiers moved through the enemy vessel like a force of nature, their modified physiology allowing them to survive in environments that would kill normal humans. The alien crew found themselves fighting opponents who seemed immune to their most advanced weapons. The alien coalition began fragmenting as different species blamed each other for the unexpected resistance. Krillian commanders accused the Thaxans of providing inadequate intelligence, while Thaxan generals claimed their allies were showing cowardice in the face of primitive human technology. The discord made their forces even more vulnerable to human tactical coordination. Kane studied the quantum signatures of the approaching alien reinforcements and realized the full scope of the threat facing Earth. Additional fleets from across the galaxy were converging on the solar system, bringing the total enemy force to over 10,000 vessels. The admiral knew his hidden fleet was outnumbered, but centuries of preparation had given humanity advantages that numbers alone could not overcome. Lieutenant Martinez discovered that her enhanced pilot abilities allowed her to interface directly with captured alien technology. The young woman could pilot enemy fighters more effectively than their original crews, giving human forces access to weapons and systems they had never possessed before. This capability opened new tactical possibilities that alien commanders could never anticipate. The Leviathan began moving through the asteroid belt using gravitational manipulation to accelerate massive rocks toward enemy positions. The Supercarrier's exotic technology could turn any space debris into devastating kinetic weapons that struck with the force of nuclear explosions. Alien ships found themselves under bombardment from attacks that appeared to come from empty space. Nexus 7 detected quantum tunneling signatures indicating that several alien vessels were attempting to escape the solar system to report on human capabilities. The AI coordinated strike forces to intercept these ships before they could reach faster-than-light speeds, ensuring that the galaxy would remain ignorant of Earth's true strength for as long as possible. Dr. Raj Patel activated biological warfare protocols that had been designed to target specific alien species without affecting Earth's ecosystem. Microscopic organisms began spreading through enemy ships, causing system failures that appeared to be random malfunctions. The alien crews had no idea they were being attacked by weapons that operated at the cellular level. War Prime Gorthax ordered his remaining forces to concentrate near Earth's moon, hoping that superior numbers would allow him to overwhelm human defenses. The Thaxan general failed to realize that this clustering made his fleet vulnerable to the massive weapon systems that had been hidden on Luna's far side for over a century. Commander Torres led a strike team aboard the Leviathan's most advanced assault craft as they prepared to attack the alien command structure directly. The enhanced humans could survive in the vacuum of space and fight effectively in zero gravity, advantages that would prove crucial in the coming close-quarters combat. Kane received reports that human sleeper agents throughout the galaxy were beginning to activate, creating chaos in alien territories far from Earth. The Admiral realized that Project Deep Strike had been even more comprehensive than he had known, with human operatives planted in strategic positions across dozens of star systems. The battle reached a turning point when alien forces finally managed to penetrate the stealth fields protecting several human vessels. Commander Vextal transmitted detailed scans of human technology to the alien fleet, giving enemy commanders their first clear look at the advanced systems they were facing. The tactical advantage of surprise was finally beginning to erode. Professor Grant detected massive energy buildups in the alien fleet as enemy commanders prepared to use their most powerful weapons against Earth. The physicist realized that the next phase of the battle would determine whether humanity's secret preparations had been sufficient to overcome the raw, destructive power that their opponents could bring to bear. Overlord Cricksmith made the fateful decision to activate ancient weapons that his people had sworn never to use again. The elderly alien ruler believed that only the most extreme measures could defeat an enemy that had already proven capable of matching advanced alien technology. He had no idea that humans had been preparing countermeasures for exactly this type of escalation. The Leviathan's primary quantum cannon began its final charging sequence as Admiral Kane prepared to reveal humanity's ultimate weapon to the galaxy. 2 centuries of patient energy accumulation had created a device capable of destroying entire fleets with a single shot, but using it would announce Earth's return to every civilization within 100 light-years of the solar system. Admiral Kane stood on the Leviathan's command bridge and watched as the quantum cannon reached full power for the first time in human history. The massive weapon drew energy from Earth's planetary core through dimensional conduits that had been charging for 2 centuries. The device represented the pinnacle of human scientific achievement, a fusion of theoretical physics and practical engineering that defied most known laws of reality. Captain Lisa Chun commanded the experimental dreadnought Prometheus as it emerged from its hiding place behind Earth's moon. The massive warship had been built using technology recovered from ancient alien ruins, incorporating systems that no other species in the galaxy fully understood. Qian's enhanced neural interface allowed her to control weapons that could reshape matter at the quantum level. War Prime Gorthax watched in horror as his concentrated fleet came under attack from directions that should have been impossible. Human vessels appeared to be firing through dimensional barriers, striking his ships from parallel universes where the laws of physics operated differently. The Thaxan general realized he was facing an enemy that had learned to weaponize reality itself. The quantum cannon fired its first shot across the void, creating a beam of pure energy that existed in multiple dimensions simultaneously. The alien command ship containing 3 enemy admirals simply ceased to exist as the weapon tore apart its molecular structure and scattered the remains across several parallel realities. The destruction was so complete that no trace remained. To prove the vessel had ever existed, Overlord Cricksmith felt ancient terror as he recognized the distinctive energy signature of the weapon that had just destroyed the command ship. His people's oldest legends spoke of humans who could bend space and time to their will, stories that he had dismissed as primitive mythology. The elderly ruler began transmitting surrender codes as he realized his species was facing extinction. Commander Jake Torres led enhanced Marines through the corridors of captured alien vessels, finding that enemy crews were already beginning to surrender rather than face opponents who seemed immune to conventional weapons. The young officer's genetic modifications allowed him to survive in hostile environments while processing tactical information at superhuman speeds. Nexus 7 coordinated the movements of hundreds of human vessels as they systematically dismantled the alien fleet with surgical precision. The AI had evolved beyond its original programming during the centuries of isolation, becoming something that combined human intuition with mechanical calculation. Every move in the battle was planned thousands of steps in advance. Lieutenant Rosa Martinez flew her fighter through the wreckage of alien capital ships, marveling at how completely the tide of battle had turned. Her enhanced senses could detect the fear radiating from enemy survivors as they realized their technological superiority meant nothing against opponents who had spent centuries preparing for this exact moment. Dr. Leon Grant monitored quantum fluctuations throughout the solar system as reality itself began to stabilize after the massive weapon discharge. The physicist had theoretical concerns about the long-term effects of manipulating fundamental forces, but the immediate tactical advantage was undeniable. Enemy fleets throughout the region were fleeing in panic. Captain Marcus Reed received reports from resistance cells across Earth that alien ground forces were surrendering or fleeing back to their ships. The enhanced human soldiers had proven so effective that most enemy troops refused to engage them in direct combat. For the first time in 2 centuries, Earth's surface was completely free of hostile forces. Colonel Diana Nash established communication with alien commanders, who were requesting terms for surrender. The enhanced officer found herself in the unprecedented position of dictating conditions to species that had once considered humans an extinct threat. The negotiations would reshape galactic politics for generations to come. Sage Morden watched the battle from his observation vessel and felt profound sadness at the destruction taking place around him. The peaceful alien philosopher had come to witness what he expected to be Earth's final defeat. but instead found himself documenting humanity's triumphant return to galactic prominence. His reports would spread throughout civilized space within days. Admiral Kane opened communication channels to the remaining alien fleets and offered terms that were surprisingly generous considering humanity's overwhelming tactical advantage. The admiral understood that total victory required not just military success but also the foundation for lasting peace. Earth would need allies rather than conquered subjects in the challenges ahead. Ambassador David Stone emerged from stasis aboard one of the Leviathan's diplomatic vessels, ready to begin negotiations with alien representatives who had never imagined they would need to treat humans as equals. The enhanced diplomat possessed abilities that would allow him to understand alien psychology and communicate across species barriers that had existed for millennia. War Prime Gorthax transmitted his unconditional surrender to the human fleet, hoping to preserve the lives of his remaining crews. The Thaxan general had lost over 80% of his forces and realized that continued resistance would only result in complete annihilation. His proud warrior culture would need to adapt to a reality where humans had become the dominant military power. The quantum weapon's second shot eliminated a fleeing alien squadron that had attempted to escape with intelligence about human capabilities. Kane ensured that news of Earth's return would spread slowly and on humanity's terms, giving his people time to consolidate their advantages and prepare for the larger conflicts that would inevitably follow. Dr. Raj Patel began medical treatment for captured alien prisoners, using his enhanced abilities to understand non-human physiology and provide care that demonstrated humanity's commitment to ethical conduct. The bioengineering specialist realized that these small gestures might prove more important than military victories in shaping long-term relationships between species. Commander Vextel found himself aboard a human vessel as a prisoner of war, treated with dignity and respect that contrasted sharply with his expectations. The Krillian officer began to understand that humanity had evolved beyond the primitive species his people remembered, becoming something that combined advanced technology with moral sophistication. Captain Chen received reports that human colonies throughout the galaxy were revealing themselves after centuries of hiding among alien populations. The secret diaspora had been far more extensive than anyone realized, with enhanced humans living undetected on hundreds of worlds. Earth's children were finally coming home. Nexus 7 detected incoming transmissions from dozens of alien civilizations, requesting diplomatic contact with the resurgent human government. Species that had ignored Earth for centuries suddenly wanted to establish trade relationships and mutual defense agreements. The AI began organizing reception protocols for the flood of diplomatic visitors. Lieutenant Martinez landed her fighter aboard the Leviathan and realized she was part of the first generation of humans to grow up free from alien oppression. The enhanced pilot represented humanity's future, genetically optimized for space exploration and equipped with technology that would allow her species to claim their rightful place among the stars. Admiral Kane walked through the corridors of his flagship and felt the weight of history settling around him like a familiar coat. 2 centuries of patience and preparation had led to this moment of triumph, but he understood that victory was only the beginning. Earth's emergence from silence would reshape galactic civilization in ways that no one could predict. The Leviathan transmitted a message to every listening post in known space, announcing humanity's return with words that would echo through history. Earth was no longer the silent world that aliens had used as a cautionary tale. The sleeping giant had awakened, and the galaxy would never be the same. Ambassador Stone prepared to meet with the first alien diplomats who would visit Earth in over 2 centuries, knowing that these initial conversations would establish precedents for all future relations between humanity and the thousands of species that populated known space. The enhanced diplomat smiled as he realized the universe was about to become a much more interesting place. In the depths of space, human vessels continued their patrols while hidden shipyards began constructing the next generation of spacecraft. Earth's long silence had ended not with surrender but with the emergence of a civilization that had learned patience, planning, and the terrible price of being unprepared for the challenges the universe could present.